What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Jermaine Event, Main on MMA. Today we are checking out a video from the Weasel MMA, one of the GOATs out here. So yeah, I think about a couple days ago, or maybe by now, it was announced that Ilia Topuria stated that he has fought his last fight at 145 pounds, ladies and gentlemen, and that he will be moving to lightweight. This is what he has said after knocking out both Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski. He plans to move to lightweight. He's 26 and he wants to retire by 30. Let's look at this video from the Weasel and then let's react to the whole situation at the end, ladies and gents.
Came in, beat the two best in the world, and is bouncing out of the weight class. And the lightweights are already interested in fighting the featherweight champion. But will he vacate the belt? Ilia Topuria says that he's done with the featherweight division and he wants to move up to lightweight to fight Islam Makhachev for his title. But if Islam is not ready by around April, Ilia said that he would go up and fight Charles Oliveira. This is what Ilia says, quote, "Maybe there's a change coming. Yes, very likely you saw my last fight at featherweight. I like to move up to the next weight class, and since Islam Makhachev is the champion fighting in January and he won't be ready for April or May, I like to fight against the #1 contender right now, who's Charles Oliveira," unquote. I don't know if Charles would be interested. He said he wants to fight for the title next, but Ilia is such a big name. It's a big fight. Maybe Charles would still be willing to fight Ilia Topuria instead of getting his lightweight title shot. But with Ilia moving up to the lightweight division, if Charles doesn't want to fight him, who gets the title shot? Did Ilia do enough at featherweight to earn a title shot at lightweight? Or Charles beating Michael Chandler, coming off a split decision loss to Arman Tsarukyan, is that enough for him to get a rematch against Islam? Ilia sees the best way to determine who is the #1 contender is for him and Charles to fight. He's not interested in fighting Diego Lopez, Movsar Evloev, Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, or any of these featherweight contenders. So we may have just seen the last of Ilia Topuria at featherweight. One title defense. Now he's implying that he's going to vacate the title, because when he says he's done with featherweight and moving up to lightweight, that sounds like he's going to relinquish his belt, which is the right move to make. You know, he doesn't want to hold up that division, vacate it, then move up to lightweight. All power to him if he does that. And I think the Charles Oliveira fight is excellent, but we want to see him defend the belt more. Diego Lopez is right there. Alexander Volkanovski deserves a rematch. Movsar Evloev, Aljamain Sterling, Arnold Allen, and in the future, John Silva. That's one of my dream fights at featherweight. Ilia versus John? How crazy would all those fights be? And they're all different styles too. Movsar and Aljamain have the wrestling and grappling offense against Ilia Topuria's style. But then there's Arnold Allen, who's more well-rounded and has really good footwork. Then there's Diego Lopez, who has good grappling, but he will strike with Ilia Topuria in crazy exchanges. Then there's John Silva, a dynamic striker with
I like John Silva, but I think he's too he lacks discipline in there sometimes. He's an exciting fighter, but I think he get knocked the fuck out by Ilia.
Excellent takedown defense. Ilia Topuria wiping out the previous generation of the featherweight division was so exciting because it brings up the new talent. The new generation is here, and he gets to be the first one to win the belt out of them and defend it against all of them. A new chapter of the featherweight division, and he doesn't want to be the guy. He doesn't want to be the champion that starts that chapter. He wanted to be the end of the previous chapter and then move on to another book. And honestly, if he just vacates the title, goes up to lightweight and has success over there, it's going to undermine the featherweight division moving forward, because whoever wins the belt after, everyone will say, but they're not Ilia Topuria. Or they'll say, we wish that the next champion and Ilia would fight each other to determine who is the best featherweight in the world, because as long as Ilia never loses the belt in a fight, it's going to be so difficult for any other fighter to prove themselves better than Ilia Topuria, because he just beat Volkanovski and Max Holloway, knocked out both of them in a single year. The next champion doesn't have an option to fight both Volkanovski and Max Holloway. If Diego Lopez is beating Movsar Evloev, Aljamain Sterling, and Arnold Allen, can you say he's better than Ilia until they fight each other? It'd be really hard to say so, even if Diego has a few title defenses. He never beat guys like Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway. That's a whole different level. It's really exciting to see Ilia at lightweight. Like, who doesn't want to see the Charles Oliveira fight, the Islam Makhachev fight? But on the other side, you want to see him defend the belt more and earn that jump up to the next weight class so he doesn't have to vacate his belt, right? Get 2 more title defenses, beat Diego Lopez, beat Movsar Evloev, then go up to the lightweight division and fight Islam Makhachev while holding on to the belt, trying to become a double champ simultaneously. But this all stems around that he wants to retire in 3 years. So it looks like he got into the sport trying to get the biggest fights possible and then retire as soon as possible as well, which in theory, it's great. You know, every fighter should be striving for that. But as a fan who is used to champions staying there for a long time and defending the belt over and over again, as much as they can, that's kind of what we want to see from Ilia Topuria as well. But for him, like, if you're in Ilia's position, would you not do the same thing? After being Volkanovski and Max Holloway, would you not jump at the opportunity to fight bigger names like Charles Oliveira and Islam Makhachev compared to the featherweight contenders, right? Even though Diego Lopez is a very dangerous fighter for Ilia, the name value isn't there for him. It's not even on the level of Charles. It's not on the level of Islam. Ilia wants the biggest fights. Whether I completely agree with it or don't, I agree with it in a way, but I also agree that he should defend the belt more. Regardless, whatever he does, it's going to be exciting. If he jumps up the lightweight, he has to vacate that belt and not hold on to it. I can also imagine, after beating fighters like Alexander Volkanovski, one of the greatest featherweights of all time, arguably some people say the greatest featherweight of all time, top 10 GOATs of the sport. Then there's Max Holloway, also top 10 GOATs of the sport, one of the greatest featherweights ever. Knocking both of them out to go to fight Diego Lopez, Movsar Evloev, Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling. It's like, I mean, Aljamain's a big name.
Yeah, Aljo's a big name. I was about to say, don't hate on Aljo, but he corrected. But yeah, to go from knocking out Volk and Max to Diego Lopez, Movsar Evloev, like, these are nobodies compared to the superstars he just fought.
But at featherweight, even though the challenges are still very high, the name value, the interest, the motivation might not be the same, right? Going from fighting those legends to just contenders at the moment don't seem like motivating things for Ilia Topuria. And what might motivate him is going up to fight Charles, go up to fight other legends, big names in the sport, Islam Makhachev and Charles Oliveira. And I know people are going to say, oh, but what about John Jones? He wanted to do that too. It's always going to be an argument with John Jones. If Ilia holds on to that belt at featherweight, then it's a similar criticism with him and John Jones, right? If he vacates the belt, that's what Jones didn't do, right? We all said if Jones vacated the heavyweight title and fought Stipe, nobody would complain about that. The only complaint was him defending the heavyweight title against Stipe. That's different, right? He was holding up the weight class. If Ilia doesn't hold up the weight class, vacates the belt and jumps up to lightweight, that's fine. We love to see him defend his belt at featherweight more, but if he wants to vacate that belt, go up to lightweight then. Now, another thing could be is Alexander Topuria is also going to make his UFC debut, and he might go to the featherweight division, so maybe he's making room for his brother to build up his legacy while he goes up to the next weight class, gets a few more fights, and then retires. That may be like the strategy of him and his brother creating their own legacies. So again, we all knew that Ilia was going to retire soon, but we did not know he would be done at featherweight. Jump up to the next weight class after one title defense. Now, a fight with Charles Oliveira, that's a dangerous fight because Ilia would probably want to stay standing with Charles, but he's got the kicks, he's got the reach, he's got a very good jab, he's a lot more patient with his offense, more technical, but at the same time, Charles doesn't have the best chin. Ilia could knock him out. He might be the best boxer Charles has ever fought, while also having a speed advantage as well. It's a very dangerous fight for both fighters. I think Ilia would win, but not confident in that. I could see Charles finishing him, maybe knocking him out in the stand-up, or dropping him and then submitting him after. Such an amazing fight, and I do not see him beat Islam Makhachev. I don't think it'll be easy.
He's so
for Islam,
much bigger
but I do
than
think
him.
Islam would win that fight. And with Ilia moving up to lightweight, Diego Lopez says that he wants to fight Alexander Volkanovski, and hopefully that would be for the vacant title. So it looks like Ilia is not going to fight Diego Lopez. He's not going to fight any of the other contenders, and hopefully he vacates his belt soon enough for them to fight for the vacant title, right? Because of him never fighting at featherweight again, like he's saying, allow for Volk and Diego or Movsar or whoever it is to fight for the vacant title. And that's the other thing as well. You have 3 contenders at featherweight that all deserve a title shot. Volk, Diego, and Movsar. What do you do with them 3? Because 2 of them have to fight each other for the vacant title. Does Volk's immediate rematch trump both Diego and Movsar, so he has to be part of that fight? Or do you do the rematch between Diego and Movsar and then Volk can wait out for the winner or something? I think Volk has to be in that fight, which means who do you pick over the other? Diego or Movsar? Movsar does have a good argument because he beat Diego, but it was on short notice. And Diego did just beat Brian Ortega, and he did the UFC a favor with fighting Dan Ige on short notice too. So he took 2 fights on short notice, right? Movsar, on the other hand, is undefeated in the UFC. Some close fights. I thought Arnold Allen won their fight, but it was very close. Aljamain was a close fight as well. I see how either fighter could have won that. The main argument for Movsar is that he does have a win over Diego. But the thing is, Diego did beat top-ranked Brian Ortega. So I don't know who gets a title shot, but
I see no argument for Aljo beating Movsar. or Arnold Allen beating Movsar. People are delusional.
Regardless, it should be a really good fight with Alexander Volkanovski. Now, I think Diego has a better chance of beating Volk than Movsar does because he's just so much more powerful, and Volk may not have the same chin. Getting knocked out back-to-back like that, Movsar's going to fight technically and using his wrestling more than anything, so that's a better fight for Volk, stylistically, than Diego, who's going to test that chin right from the beginning, and also is very dangerous on the ground. Even though Volk is technically a much better striker than Diego, the guy has a...
So there we have it, Ilia Topuria, all right, champion in the featherweight, knocking out Volkanovski, then defending his belt, knocking out Max Holloway, is intending to move to lightweight. All right, champion at featherweight, planning to move to lightweight. He's planning to vacate the belt, not tie up the division. And he wants to fight Charles Oliveira, do Bronx. You guys know, if you guys are here for a long time, if you've been here with the Babylon 5 podcast, you guys know I've been a long time supporter of Charles Oliveira. I picked Charles to be the next champion when Khabib was still the champion. If you guys don't remember, if you weren't there, I've been a long time supporter of Charles Oliveira, and I was a huge supporter of Ilia Topuria on the come up. And I hate it, ladies and gentlemen. I hate it when my favorite fighters fight each other. I don't want to see this fight because, especially at this point, it's like, I feel like Oliveira can't really take a loss if he plans to fight for the belt again at 155. He cannot take a loss here. And the fight, a potential fight with Ilia, if he were to take it, all right, I think he's already the number one contender, all right? I think he's set up to fight the winner of the winner of Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. And even I just saw Arman Tsarukyan said he intends to defend his belt against Oliveira after he beats Islam. He wants his first title defense to be Charles Oliveira. So the people in that fight are already planning to fight Charles Oliveira next. So why would Charles Oliveira even take this fight against Ilia Topuria, the young, streaking Ilia Topuria, champion at 145, undefeated? Why take that fight when you are the number one contender? I see no reason for Charles to take that fight, but what a fight, man. Like, I think that fight could go either way, man. Honestly, I think I probably favor Ilia because, I mean, he's undefeated at this point. We haven't seen what is the key to beating Ilia Topuria. We haven't seen it. We've seen that he's good everywhere. He's got good wrestling. He's got good jiu-jitsu, great, phenomenal boxing. All right. We've seen him look amazing in there. And I think he's got the kind of power, as I said to you guys, he would knock out Max Holloway. I think he's got the kind of power that he could really hurt and finish Oliveira in the stand-up. Oliveira kind of leaves himself open sometimes. And I think if it went to the ground, Ilia could defend himself down there and he could be offensive. So yeah, I would favor Ilia in that fight, actually. But in a fight against Islam Makhachev, Islam's so big. He's so fucking big. Like, I think he's like, 5'10", 5'11", maybe 6 feet. I think he's like 5'11". Ilia's like 5'7". And I think he's at the right size for featherweight. All right. I think he's at the right size for featherweight. But I think he would definitely beat some lightweights. He's beat Jai Herbert. He's already knocked out Jai Herbert. So, and he would knock out Paddy Pimblett. I would love to see that fight. If Paddy can make it up there, Ilia's saying he's going up there. So it's only a matter of time now if Paddy does what he needs to do, where we could see Paddy versus, as he calls it, hand sanitizer boy. All right. Paddy the Baddy versus Ilia Topuria. That's the fight everybody wants to see. I think it'll be real one-sided. But we could potentially see that fight. What do you guys think, ladies and gentlemen? Let me know in the comments. Do you think it's a good idea? Is it wise for Ilia Topuria to vacate the belt at 145 and to chase new dreams at 155? Or do you think this is, I believe I said Do I think it's great? Is it a good idea? Or all right, so let me know in the comments if you think it's a good idea for Ilia to go up or if you think it's a bad idea. Do you think Ilia has a chance to beat Islam Makhachev at 155 over 5 rounds? I think Islam is too big for that boy. Too big and too Russia strong, if you know what I'm saying, for that boy. Yeah. Ambitious, though. I mean, Volkanovski did pretty good in that first fight. And I think Ilia is a much better grappler than Volkanovski. So actually, I don't know. Ilia is so fast, but so is Islam. Islam's fast, powerful, big as fuck. He's so big. I think if he takes Ilia down, man, I think he's going to be so much stronger and bigger than him that he's going to be able to like just hold him into the positions. I don't know if he's going to be able to do too much damage in those positions, maybe. But, man, he's just so much bigger than him. We'll see. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for being here. Once again, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you guys when I see you. I'll holla.